Three, two, one, bro.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We're the Brothers Murph.
We are the Brothers Murph. I said I'm Nick, and I was like, I literally already just did that.
We are still the Brothers Murph.
We are.
That's Nick. I don't know if he's mentioned it, but this one
Nick.
is Nick. I'm Mike. We are here to talk about board games like we do often on this channel, but we're going to talk about them in an order.
That's what I'm like. It's really windy here today.
If you hear
I need to bring it up.
Like a monster scraping on the house, it's
Trying to
because a
get
tree
through.
is trying to enter our studio now via the wind.
It's really windy. There's a tree outside that wall, and it just keeps smacking against this
Whether or
wall.
not you're getting that on your end, it's incredibly loud in here.
Yes,
from
it
that.
is. So, yeah.
But we're going to be talking about all of our favorite games, or some of our favorite games, but we're going to go through the alphabet
We
now.
are. We were inspired by a wonderful podcast.
Board Game Blitz.
Board Game
Blitz.
Blitz.
Board Game Blitz. They are doing this currently. They've been going through and choosing a game from each letter, essentially, and talking about that game. So we thought that was super duper cool, and we've kind of had a similar idea, so we want to give them a shout out, because obviously, great minds think alike.
Yeah.
All right, Board Game Blitz, Brothers Murph,
Yeah.
Brothers Blitz.
Brothers
It's all a
Blitz.
mix. Brothers Blitz. Okay, so
So yeah. So basically, we'll be going through every letter of the alphabet, like A, and then we're each gonna choose.
sorry, just like like the alphabet, like letters, like I'll throw out a random G. You know what I'm talking about? G.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Maybe they're using a different alphabet wherever they're from.
That's very true.
Right?
I was very small-minded to me.
So we are using the American alphabet, the English alphabet, I guess. And yeah, so A, we choose our favorite game from A. Then B, we choose our favorite game from B. And
on
just a
and
little
on.
caveat, we are choosing the first main word of the title. So the game A Feast for Odin will be under F.
Yeah.
For feast.
first, like,
because they'll
operative
all be in
word.
A and T.
Yeah, and that's
So
how
just
if you're
know
searching
that.
stuff, it's gonna go that
Look,
first.
a
the real
Feast for
word.
Odin should be A. It's like, we're going to call it is in F because
If you're one of those people, don't be one of those people.
don't be one of those people.
We're all going by the F on Feast for Odin. All right. So we're going to go through the alphabet. We're going to start with a number, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like, if you're doing things alphabetically, put
Numbers
the numbers,
always go
then
first, yeah.
A. So what do you have for your first number?
My first number is Seventh Continent.
Right.
Which I really, really love. We don't get to play it very often because it's one of those games that you only bring it out like once or twice a year. But
It's
I've
a
played.
big thing.
Yeah, it's more or less part of my collection at home now.
It's an event when you play it.
Yeah, because I play with my roommates, but it's a game where it's a kind of a choose your own adventure game where you have a curse on you. You wash up on this island, and you basically are exploring the island. New cards come out; those are like the terrain cards, and you basically have to like find clues and like explore until you find stuff for ways like
you're vexed, you're cursed. You got to figure out what your curse.
yeah, and you
by,
got to lift
essentially.
your curse, and it's really, really fun. There's a whole bunch of different curses. They all take place in the same island, but there's certain things you come across that don't mean anything to you because it doesn't mean anything for that particular curse.
no
but then later on,
context.
if you're doing a different curse, you're like, oh, now this means something, and it takes you on a whole part of the island
So
you haven't
cool.
even seen yet. It's very, very cool, very fun. I freaking love Seventh Continent.
It's awesome. My number is also a 7, and Seven Wonders Duel. Y'all know that I like Seven Wonders Duel. It's just one of the best two-player games ever and super cool. So
Yeah.
it takes Seven Wonders and puts it into a two-player experience where you're sort of drafting cards from this pyramid of cards on the table. And so you're kind of trying to draft in a different way, which is interesting because you can still kind of deny your opponent things
Yeah,
by,
it's like
I'm going to take
pyramid
this card
solitaire.
over here, which doesn't open up these cards on the table and stuff, and kind of you try to force your opponent to do all the things that you want to do to unlock your cards and stuff like that. But you're doing the same thing, kind of building up a civilization, getting resource production, trying to build wonders of the world and stuff. It's
Yeah.
super fantastic. That's Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah, very cool.
Now let's get to the alphabet.
Let's get in the alphabet. Let's get into A. So A is gonna be for me. I chose Abyss.
Yeah.
I really like Abyss a lot. Abyss is a great, great game where you are underwater, and it's like this weird political game, but it's got really wonderful art. And Abyss is a game that I think would have kind of gone down in my list in terms of like my top 100 of all time kind of thing if it wasn't for the Leviathan expansion, which
Yeah.
really kind of like, it was like 90% done, it felt like, and this kind of was like on that last 10%.
Yeah.
And it really just, there's a part where you can come across like monsters and you can like choose to fight them, but like when you choose to fight them, you just get stuff. You don't actually do anything. And it basically took that whole part of it and made these big Leviathans that you can actually now fight if like roll some dice, you get better stuff. It's like more of an integral part of the game other than just kind of like, hey, you can do this and get a key or a pearl.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it really finished out the game. And it's kept Abyss just in my heart. And it's also got some of my favorite art of any game ever in it. It's just incredible. And so
It's real rad.
yeah, so I love Abyss. That's my A.
I like Abandon All Artichokes.
Yeah.
Abandon All Artichokes is a
great.
really fun game that we've come to play recently.
Yeah.
It's a deck building game, but you're really trying to build up a deck so you can get rid of artichoke cards from your hands. Because you start off your entire deck at the start of the game is just 10 artichokes, and you're drawing
bad.
5 at a time, and you're hoping to, at the end of your turn, when you draw up your hand of cards, have no artichokes. That's how you win. So there's all these different other vegetables like corn and carrots and stuff that will do different things like pass cards to your opponents. You can compost artichokes or compost cards, which is getting them out of the game, which is what you want to do. So you have like these 10 different vegetable types that are really fun and interesting. There's some kind of take that and stuff, but it's ultimately a really quick, light kind of deck building or twist on the deck building game that I really enjoy. It's in a cute little artichoke shaped tin.
It's very cute. It's really fun.
That's really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Because you can do a bunch of cool stuff and all the powers are really interesting. So I've really enjoyed it lately. So Abandon All Artichokes is my A.
I like it a lot. It's become one of my favorite fillers. I really, really enjoy it. It just works.
Played in like 20 minutes.
It's
10, 20
different
minutes.
than a lot of other games. It's really, really great.
Yeah.
All right, B. Go for B.
B, I've got Baseball Highlights 2045.
Shocker.
Robots playing baseball. That was more of a golf swing, but that's fine.
I feel like Pablo going for a low strike.
Yeah, you can golf them out, get it out of there. So in this game, you are playing baseball and stuff. It's set in the near future where like robots have been introduced. People can get like cyborg arms and things to enhance themselves. There's also natural players who just still do it. But everything, the game of baseball has basically been enhanced. So it's just supersized because baseball had become too boring. And you're playing this really tight kind of back and forth, again, 2-player game where you are playing cards. You're playing 6 cards per game, which represents 6 innings of play. And when I play my card, I'm going to be reacting to whatever Nick was trying to do, potentially, and then also threaten offense. So you're playing kind of defense and offense at the same time, which is something I really appreciate, is that back and forth, that kind of, I need to pay attention to what you're doing and react to that, but also I need to be doing stuff myself. And do I allow you to have your bit of offense over here? Maybe you score a run out of it because I can play this card over here, which maybe will score me 2 runs or 3 runs if you can't defend it. But I don't know what you have, so there's a bit of a tug of war and like guessing what cards maybe your opponent has, because you'll see what they've been drafting throughout the game. So it's like, I know you have these cards. I don't know if they're in your hand right now. I don't know if you've played them, so you're trying to sort of outwit your opponent. Super fun.
It's really, really good. My B, I'm going to say number 2. My B is The Bloody Inn.
Oh, yeah.
It's a game that, like, I'm incredibly charmed by this very, very dark, weird little game. It's a kind of small game. It's ultimately a big balancing act where you have people coming into your hotel and you decide to kill some of them and take their money. Because they got a lot of money in those pockets and they're only going to give you a little bit of it to stay in your inn. So sometimes you might want to kill a couple of them.
Just a couple.
But then you have to bury them under different parts of your inn so that if cops come through the inn, they don't find the buried bodies. Because if they do, then you have to bribe them off and it costs you money. Money is your points in this game, of course. And it's really, really macabre and weird, but it's got this very, very interesting art style by Weberson Santiago, which I really, really love, that just fits this game. It just works.
Fits the tone.
But in the end, it's a very big balance, ultimately, because you only have 2 actions on your turn. And so, like, it's very hard to kill a guest and bury a guest in the same turn.
Yeah, because it's all card driven too, so you need to have the right amount of cards in your hand
to do it.
It's a
and
balancing
so
act for
it's
sure.
this weird balancing act of like trying to set yourself up so you can do a lot of stuff right away, or just hope that no police people come into the inn, because they don't always come in. And so it's very, very fun, but it is a very tight little balance. And if you kind of have like that, you're cool with that kind of dark sense of humor this game has, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that's B. What about C, my friend?
My C is Crown of Amara. This is just bucket of sand, dry Euro, just Sahara in the middle of June.
Dusty.
Just dusty,
Just a new cowboy just came into town, just hit the saloon when they hit the doors, just poof off their duster.
Just like that. It's Crown of Amara. It's a themeless dry Euro game, but I really, really love it.
That's theme in its way.
There's a theme on it. And so basically there's like a countryside and there's like a city. You have these 2 counselors that are going around them kind of rondel style. And wherever they land, they need to do stuff. In the countryside, you're essentially getting resources. Over here in the city, you're going to be spending those resources to do stuff. Resources are very tight in this game.
Yeah.
But it's got this really cool action selection system where you play out a card. The card will have some kind of bonus or action on it. And then there's 3 slots. Those 3 slots are 1, 2, or 3. And that shows how far your counter is going to go. But you can only move one of them on each turn.
Yeah.
So you have to try and like balance it of like, I need to get over here, so I need to leave my 2 spot open because my counter over here is 2 spots away. So I can't put something in the 2 slot. Okay, and then the cards you have, again, all have like some allow you to move more, some allow you to get resources. So you can put together these really cool turns and combos in this very fun, tight Euro game where there's essentially 2 scores, your citizen score and your building score. Whatever your lower of the 2 is, that's your score for the game. So you have to do both equally, and I really, really like that in games, and I really love Crown of Mara.
It's super duper interesting. My C, I chose just because I'm just so interested in it lately. There's obviously so many good C games to choose from, but I chose Clans of Caledonia.
I really want to explore this more, yeah.
Yeah, like we played it a couple times recently, and I had played it a few times in a flurry before that. It's just a really interesting game. You're in the Scottish Highlands and stuff, and it's all about, you have this player board with all sorts of wooden bits on it, which is great. The wooden bits are very satisfying. And you're putting them out onto this kind of central board that all of us are going to be populating. And you're going to be doing that to, you're going to put sheep and cows out to produce wool and milk. And then you can build like a little cheese factory, so you can convert one of your milk into a cheese.
It's like butter. It's
So you make it butter and stuff. And
This is
cheese.
cheese.
Is a more circular.
Yeah,
version.
this is cheese. This is butter. That's
You
right.
can put like, wheat farms out that can become bread or whiskey and stuff. And you're doing all this stuff and ultimately to fulfill contracts. But the whole thing comes down to money. Money is really tight. Everything is expensive.
Yes.
And so you're like, okay, how do I use my money as wisely as I can to get these contracts, to then get production and stuff? And basically the more things you have off your player board will reveal icons. There'll be more stuff that you gain every round.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get this kind of production engine going, finding out how to spend your money to fulfill contracts and stuff. There's just a lot of really interesting things with it. I really enjoy that, the way the kind of player board reveals more things. So it makes it very clear to like, I know what I'm going to produce. Just look and see every icon, get one of those things. And then you can convert stuff. And it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm not explaining it well, but it's just really fun to try to figure out like how to stretch the limited money and resources you have as best you can to fulfill the most contracts.
Yeah.
And there's little end game bonuses and stuff. It's just great.
Yeah, it's really
enjoy
fun.
it.
Really fun. All right, what about your D?
My D is Draftosaurus.
Yeah, it checks out.
I like it.
You love Draftosaurus.
I like
My
it.
man be loving him some Draftosaurus.
I like it. It's just drafting little dinosaur meeples. I've talked about it a lot lately, but it's just, I like how easy and accessible it is. It's cute. It's interesting. You can put together a really good game. Like you can put together a really clever game. It's not just like random or anything.
Yeah.
Like you're making strategic choices in a very easy to understand package. And so that's a great way to introduce board games to people, or play with casual gamers and stuff. And then it's such a fun game. Like me as a, I would consider myself like a veteran gamer or whatever, has been doing it. I still really enjoy it because I do get to make tactical decisions.
Absolutely.
And so it kind of works, and it just can fit into any 10-minute period you have in between games at a game night or whatever. Draftosaurus fits it really well and can play 5 players. I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Simple
It's
as
great.
that.
My number D, my letter D is Dungeon Pets, which probably, if you've watched us for the last number of years, you probably are not surprised by that. Dungeon Pets is one of my favorite games. It's a game, a big worker placement game, very, very thematic, where you're running a pet store that raises little monsters that you're trying to sell off to dungeon lords. And it's cool. He's got these little crazy monsters. You got to take care of their needs. They need to eat. They're gonna
keep 'em
attack
happy.
out. They got to play. You got to keep them happy, essentially. And then kind of cater them to certain dungeon lords. So if a certain dungeon lord comes up and they're like a farmer, so they want something that eats a lot, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try and get this pet here and try to raise it kind of in a way that makes it eat a lot. And so it's very, very cool, but it's a very tricky game. There's a kind of the epitome of a game where you have a ton of stuff you need to do. You can't do all of it, so you have to prioritize stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird and thematic and like cute, and it just works on every level. I've absolutely adored this game. Even before I played it, when I just saw a review of it, I was immediately like, I'm going to love this game.
Yeah.
This is great. And to this day, it's still in my top 10. I love it so much. Dungeon Pets is great. Try it if you haven't tried it.
It's so good. It's so good. That's our D's. What do you got for E?
Ooh, for E, I have Eco's First Continent. I really, really like this game. Every time we play it, I'm always just like, I'm so intrigued by this game. And I feel like you and me are the only ones who talk about it a lot.
There's a few, but it didn't take off
so
like we
John
figured it
DeClaire
should.
Jam. If you like John DeClaire games, per usual, he makes great games. And it's this great game where you have kind of like an ever-expanding continent out there with like, desert and like kind of grasslands and stuff, and then water. And you're playing out you have these cards that you essentially are putting these you're putting your putting
energy
resources
cubes
on.
onto.
Energy
Yeah, you're
cubes.
kind of pulling these little symbols out of bag, kind of bingo style.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can cover up. You pull up the one that has water. You can cover up a water symbol somewhere.
Right.
And basically, once you cover up every symbol on a card, you can then use that card to do stuff. You can add more land. You can add like trees or mountains. You can add animals, and all the cards. Every single card is unique, and they're all different. So this one would be like you put out a desert tile, and then after that on the card it says for every water tile next to this desert tile, you gain a point. So then you're like, oh, so I want to put it over here. So
Trying to craft the land in a way that makes those cards as kind of big point dumps as possible.
Exactly. And there's so many, there's tons and tons and tons of cards. There's all these animals, and it's like all these animals want to be near each other. All these animals don't want to be near each other. And so everyone is working on this communal continent, trying to kind of shape it to how they want.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much fun, and no one talks about it, and it hurts my feelings. No, I really like
think
it.
it's great. It's
I think
such
it's
a
really
cool
good.
game.
It's so much fun to explore.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's fantastic. Do check it out. We quite like it. My Eames going with the classic Everdell. It's big and bad. It's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Andrew Bosley art.
Yeah.
It's just critters. You're making little critters, and those little critters are making constructions. And you have like little twigs and resin and stone, and they're making little houses underneath a tree in the forest, and it's amazing. That's
great.
But ultimately, you build this great tableau of cards in front of you that are going to give you certain cards. Color cards will give you like discounts on things. Other ones are going to give you action spaces you can go to. Other ones are going to give you productions. They're going to give you resources and things. There's so many fun cards to explore, and there's all these ways that you can take the game and become very efficient. Because if you have a certain building built, every building is sort of tied to a critter. And if you have this building built and that critter comes up, you can build that critter for free because they live there. And so it's like, okay, well now I don't have to spend resources to build that person. Let me build that person. Ooh, that person gives me a discount on this. Now I, because of that discount, have these resources to build this. And then it gives me this building. And you're just trying to stretch.
Yeah.
And trying to be as efficient as you can with the resources you have, because at the start of the game in particular, you only have 2 workers. You can go to certain worker action spaces to get resources. And then as the game progresses, you'll get more and more workers, but once you use everything, your game is over, and your game might not end at the same time as someone else's. So you're trying to basically stay in the game as long as you can and be really efficient because, you know, per the theme of this game, like resources are scarce and stuff. And so you're trying to do, and that's just a fun, it remains a fun puzzle to put together.
Yeah.
Like, how can I stretch out this game as best I can? And it's just got great theme and art to boot.
Yeah. Cool.
Easy.
That's E. What about F?
F, you know, number 1 all time. Bam, Feast for Odin, flex
for
on it.
Odin,
I'm back on it.
Yeah, you are back on it, yeah.
I'm a fickle board gamer, man. I don't
fine.
know. Feast
Yeah,
for
it's
Odin's so
fine.
great. Feast for Odin
It's incredible. That's why.
is incredibly good. It's a fantastic
It's my number 5, yeah, it's
Uwe
like-
Rosenberg worker placement game that just has a ton of different options, and you're ultimately going to spaces to get all these different tiles and stuff. And each tile basically has 4 levels. There's orange and red, which will be some sort of food item that you can use to feed your Vikings and stuff. You have to feed your people because it's Uwe Rosenberg. Got to feed your people.
Of course it is.
But you can upgrade tiles. So orange upgrades to red, then red upgrades to green, and then to blue. And when things are green or blue, they can go onto your player board, and you're kind of filling out this polyomino puzzle to try to cover up as much area as you can, which might give you like bonus production. It'll give you more income, so you get more money every round. All sorts of things. So you're just trying to, again, get tiles, upgrade those tiles, be efficient so you don't have a bunch of leftover stuff at the end of the game, feed your people, and you're getting more and more Vikings every round. And how you use those Vikings, if you want to go to a really powerful action spot, it might cost 3 or even 4 of your Vikings. So now your pool's pretty limited, but you got to do a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
Or do I want to do a bunch of cheap stuff and stretch out my round, but maybe don't get as powerful things? So there's just a lot to consider, and Feast for Odin is fantastic.
Yeah.
Y'all know I like it.
Yeah, it's real good. My F is 5 Tribes. I really like 5 Tribes a lot. This is a great Mancala kind of style game where you have a bunch of different tiles out that have different actions on them, and there's 3 meeples on each, and you pick up a group of meeples. The meeples are like 5 different colors, and then you drop them off kind of going orthogonally adjacent, and whatever the last meeple you drop on, you have to match meeples. So if you drop a red meeple there has to be another red meeple there, or else you can't drop that one there.
Right.
And then you pick up all the same color of the meeple, and then you do, all the meeples kind of have their own little thing that they do. Like red are assassins, so they can like kill another meeple somewhere else on the board, which may be why you want to do it for like area control stuff. And then you also get to do the action on the board, and essentially,
I love that you get 2 things basically.
yeah, and if you ever take all the meeples off of a tile, you then get to claim that tile will be worth points at the end of the game. And so it's this constant, like, the board is always shifting because every single turn the makeup of Meeples is going to change because someone is going to pick some up and move them around.
Right.
So opportunities to hit different tiles in actions constantly are coming up and going away because of the way the Meeples are shifting around. And then you get these Djinns, which can give you like endgame scoring or another kind of like little bit of a power. There's like set collection in terms of like you're trying to get resources. You know, it's a Euro game and stuff like that. But it's just so fun and so cool because the tiles, there's like 25 tiles. You always put them out there randomly, so they're never in the same spot. And then the Meeples always, you just pull them out of a bag, put them on there randomly. So the makeup is always different.
Yeah,
every
100%.
single game is wildly different than the next because there's never any kind of like consistency between
It's
where
like
things
it's like
are.
the epitome of variability.
Yeah,
Everything
100%.
is variable.
And it's just really, really fun. People, it can be a little AP prone, but we're not really AP people, so like I just love it because we can kind of play it quickly, and it's just great. I love 5 Tribes.
Super fun. That is
F.
What about G?
G is Great Western Trail.
makes
Just another Euro game. We love our Euro games. That's what it is. Great Western Trail is just it's just a fun circle, basically. You're getting
going
cow,
round and
you're getting
round.
cattle, you're running them up to Kansas City, selling off those cattle. You go back to the beginning, you do it
Bit of
again.
deck building with that, trying to get the right hand of cattle at the right time. That you want to have a diverse,
Yeah, I want a diverse group of cattle.
herd.
Yeah, and then you can like put down buildings, which give you more actions, and also slow each other down and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, I still love this game. We got the Railways of the North expansion, which I think really opened up the game even more.
Yeah,
and I
super
really,
cool.
really love it. I keep enjoying Great Western Trail so much. It just, every time I play, I'm like, yeah, I still like it just as much as I ever did, you know? Yeah.
Respect.
Great
Now, we
Western
don't
Trail.
just like Euro games, Nick.
That's true.
Because my G is Gloomhaven.
It's true.
That's your monsters. You're doing
Monsters.
kind of like with Euro mechanics and
you're
cards
still
and stuff,
kinda
but it's
Euro-y.
monsters and
Yeah,
things,
you
and
know.
it's a dungeon crawler. It's the #1 rated game of all time and stuff, and we've been playing a decent amount of it lately digitally. We're hoping to do a fun Gloomhaven challenge later this year, so
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. We're going to try to play all of Gloomhaven in 1 week. It's just so fun to be with a character, and you're going into different dungeons, and
Yeah.
basically most scenarios play out like go into this dungeon, kill all the things, get some treasure or whatever, then come out, buy some stuff, get some loot and things. But as you're going through, you're gaining experience, and the characters you play, you'll stay as the same character until they retire. So you're gonna level up this person, which gives you access to new action cards, and you get better health and stuff like that, and then you have the ability to like upgrade and put stickers and things onto some of your modifier deck, which tells you it basically replaces dice rolling. You can modify your modifying deck. You can do all sorts of things and boost up your cards. You can get perks for your character, so you get to really experience the growth of this person as they are gaining experience within the
you
game.
legit get better, yeah.
And then they retire, then eventually you'll pull up a new character and kind of start that process all over again. So being able to do that and feel this like epic journey with a specific character is really neat.
It's so satisfying.
And then the gameplay and the card play is really, really fun and dynamic. Obviously, most people know about Gloomhaven. It's a great game.
It's great.
That's why it's my G.
It's great. What's your H?
Oh, man, my H is going to be Honga.
Honga. All right.
Honga is
I
a
love
game by
Honga.
Haba where it's kind of in their family weight game. So it's not just for like children, it's for kind of, kids and parents can play it together. And there's a little bit more of a game there. Honga is really cool because it uses a really interesting action selection system. On the board, you're going to have various different actions. You can do like gaining resources. You can kind of move up this little track. You can get mammoths and things like that, and then complete contracts. And then you have these discs. And these discs are going to have 4 hands on them in different combinations in 4 different areas. And all the different action spaces on the board when you place this disc will point to 4 different areas. And basically, if you have a hand pointing up here to where you can get mushrooms, you'll get mushrooms equal to the amount of hands that are in the area, which might be 1, 2, or in certain cards 3. And so it's this really cool system of like, well, if I go here and get some mushrooms, then another hand is pointing over here where I can complete a contract that needs those mushrooms. So on one action, I can get those mushrooms, use them over here to do a contract. But then there's also Honga in the middle who just wants attention. So you always have to put a hand toward Honga, which is petting Honga, keeping Honga happy. And if Honga isn't happy, Honga will come to you and start eating your resources on your little player board. And so just that whole action selection system is just really interesting.
Yeah.
It's ultimately a get stuff and fulfill contracts game. But again, keeps it really light in terms of its theming, so it works for Haba. But there's a really one of the cooler action selection systems of any game in a like family weight game, which is
great.
awesome. So that's Tonga.
It's really, really cool. My H is Histrio. This is a game that we've evangelized and talked about for years and years and years. And I'm still doing it because I freaking love this game.
Because fight us, that's why.
Because fight us.
It's so good.
Histrio is great. It's just incredible. It really, really is. It's a game where you are a troupe of actors and actresses, but you are all anthropomorphized animals. It's very, very great art.
So awesome.
And essentially, it's a very simple kind of simultaneous selection game where there's these 8 cities. These 8 cities represent places where you can go get more actors and actresses, where you can go get some acrobatics and stuff like that. Acrobats, rather. And you have cards labeled 1 through 8, so you're secretly choosing which city you're going to go to. If you each go to the same city, those cards don't go to anyone, but you do get a secret objective you then can go for. So it's not
for nothing.
It's not the end of the world. But then there's a king, and you're essentially putting on a play. You can either put on a comedy or a tragedy. The king will want either a comedy or a tragedy, but then that can be manipulated. Anytime cards have to go away because 2 people in the same spot, it'll then shift around the king's mood. So you're basically trying to get the king's mood where you want it for the kind of play you're putting on. And it's a very simple but really, really fun, just simultaneous selection game. It's got great production because it's Bombix, and Bombix goes like above and beyond with their production.
Oh yeah.
And it's just really, really fun. Again, it's not the best game ever, and it's like never gonna, you
could say it's the best game of the letter H.
It is the best game of the letter H in my opinion. But I really, really love it. I've always loved it, and I always want more people to play it. So Histrio, I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, H. I chose Isle of Cats, staying with animals right here, although they're being lazy. They're just kitties.
Just kitties being kitties.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of cats on an island for some reason. There's a pirate coming to take them for some reason. And so basically it's a polyomino tile game where you're essentially drafting these polyomino tiles and trying to put them on your boat. You're basically trying to rescue these cats from this island, put them on your boat.
Get as many on your boat as you can.
The cats are like lazing out, and they're all these weird shapes, which is a great way to do polyomino tiles because it just makes sense. And essentially you're trying to fill out your ship. You're trying to fill out your board. With these cats. You're trying to fit them all together, but there's a couple different colors of cats. You want to have the colors all together, make a big family of cats. It'll get you more points. There's also these lessons you can put out. The lessons are like essentially objectives.
Yeah.
That you can do. There's private ones and public ones that you can go for. You want to fill out as much as your ship. There are like rats on the ship that you want to put cats over because any rats shown at the end of the game will give you negative points. And it's just really, really fun. There's also a really great remote edition that they came out with during when COVID hit. And the remote edition I like basically as much as the normal game because essentially it just turns it into a roll and write. It's really, really fun. Yeah, I like it a lot. I really, really enjoy Isle of Cats. I think it's a great, great polyomino tile game.
It's fantastic. I chose Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. Haha, see?
Gotcha.
I wanted to be able to talk about Everdell, so I made it the Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North, which is its full title, so that I could talk about both games. I always just refer to it as Empires of the North. This is a game based in the Imperial Settlers kind of world, but it's a standalone kind of series where you'll be playing as a faction that has a deck of cards that will... They'll all be specific in their way. Basically, you're trying to play out these cards into your empire that will kind of create an engine to ultimately generate points and trigger the end of the game and then win the game. So the fun comes with like, what's this faction about? Like certain ones you want to store goods on the cards themselves in your empire, and the more goods you have, the more kind of bonuses you trigger. Okay, that's what they're about. They're kind of like the bankers, and thematically it's like, yeah, that makes sense. They're storing things away. Other ones just want to sail a bunch and do a bunch of things with the islands. Other ones are about like putting cards out, but then taking cards back out of your empire to trigger these things.
Yeah.
So there's all these different kind of engines that they build within themselves. And the game is just really fun in trying to discover and get that engine built quicker than your opponents. To me, it feels almost like a racing game.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, who can get the engine going
and
fastest?
it goes quick, too. Like, it's not a very long game.
Yeah,
like,
it'll be like 4 or 5 rounds and you're out, most likely. And so I just enjoy continuing to explore new factions as they've released 3 expansions at this point that each have like 2
so there's like
new factions. There's 12 or so total. It's just a really fun game. Yeah. I really enjoy that kind of figuring out how to get up and running as quick as possible and how to get to the end game as fast as you can. Yeah. I really enjoy that aspect. So that is Imperial Settlers Empires of the North for I. For J, another 2-player card game, Jaipur. Love it.
I do love Jaipur, yeah.
Jaipur is a 2-player card game where you're trying to draft cards from kind of this little central row of cards that will have different goods on them, like spices and jewels and gold and things like that. And they're just kind of different colors of cards for set collection purposes. And then you can turn in sets of cards to collect tokens that'll be worth points. So if I turn in 3 of the purples, I'll take 3 of the purple chips that'll all have a certain amount of points. And the more like of each stack that gets taken, the less valuable they become. So you want to be the first one to get the red or the first one to get the green and stuff, because that's when the chips will be the most valuable. You can also pick up camels and spend camels in different ways to kind of fill out and do trading of cards. But it's basically take a card from the center, trade some cards from the center, I think one other type of action, and you're just trying to do that set collection. And then at the end of the round, once you've kind of gone through the deck, you see who has the most points, and the winner takes a token, and it's the best of 3. So you're trying to win basically 2 out of 3 rounds.
It's very quick.
Very quick. So you're just playing these things really quick. But like that whole kind of card play, and again, I'll see what my opponent, because it's a 2-player game, if they picked up a couple gold cards and I have some gold cards, I'm not going to put gold cards into the middle because I know that person's trying to get that. I'm not trying to give them a big scoring opportunity. So it's really, again, perfect kind of 2-player heads-up tactical game. I really like Jaipur a lot.
Yeah, it's really good. For my J, I picked Jaws of the Lion, so Gloomhaven, essentially. But Jaws of the Lion, I mean, it's in the end, it's the same as Gloomhaven. There's not really anything different about it. But it is great. I really, really like it. I really love it because of the fact that it is so accessible for new people. Like it's a Target exclusive, and I really do think that if you followed the how to play guide, which kind of slowly through over the span of 5 scenarios, takes you through and teaches you the entire game, and it's done very, very well. It's done brilliantly, and I absolutely adore the way they did that, because I think it's so accessible and such a good way to get people into the hobby, because they see it, and it's like, especially like that's a game where you get so immersed. Like people could play like other like gateway filler games like Sushi Go and be like, oh, that was really fun. Yeah, we'll play that at like parties and when we get together, whatever, yada yada yada. But like Jaws of the Lion, that you can get people in with that because it's such a fun, immersive experience. And then the rest of the story is great. I played it through with my roommate. I want to play it through with you. You played a little bit. But it's just Gloomhaven. It's great. The characters are super interesting. The story is fun. It's Gloomhaven. It's great. Jaws of the Lion.
Enjoy.
That's my J.
What you got for K?
My K is Keyflow. Chose Keyflow. I like it a lot. We talk about it a lot.
Hard to beat.
Of the key games, it's one of the less, I guess, heralded one, especially because it's a lot like Keyflower.
It's matched up with probably the most popular one.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
It's a drafting version of Keyflower.
Exactly, and Keyflower is great, but I like Keyflow better because the drafting I really, really enjoyed. It's a card version kind of Keyflower, but it's also not nearly as mean. It's got the Keyflower thing where you get to use other people, you get to use cards and stuff in other people's like little kingdoms, but you don't then take that away from them. You just get to be like, oh, I'm using that, and Mike goes, all right, because it doesn't affect him at all.
Doesn't change my day.
But it's so cool and so fun the way you're trying to build out your stuff and trying to get these scoring cards. It plays over 4 seasons. And the first 2 seasons, summer and spring and summer, you're essentially trying to build out your stuff. And then fall and especially winter are all about like end game scoring. So you're trying to like set yourself up for the end. And then you have to spend a while scoring because this game is intense to score. Because you have all these different scoring stuff. But each thing, like if you're trying to score pigs, if you have multiple things to score a pig and you have a pig here, that pig can only go onto one thing. So it can't go on multiple.
Be specific about what you use.
So you got to min-max the whole thing, but I really love Keyflow. It's great. And on top of that, the good thing is the only thing that matters is your neighbors. So if you have more people, it doesn't really extend the time because the people to your left or right, the only thing
you're drafting simultaneously, of course. Yeah. So
it's just great.
Keeps it somewhat streamlined, which is nice.
It's great.
For me, my K is King Domino. Go real simple. Simple and smooth and easy.
Great.
Bruno Catala doing it again. King Domino is a fantastic tile laying game where you have these little domino tiles that will have different land features on them. And you're building out a little 5x5 grid around your central castle. And you're trying to make big groups of like forest, for example, or like water. And then on certain tiles, it'll also have crowns on them, which is a scoring multiplier. And at the end of the game, you'll have your little 5x5 grid, and you're going to look, oh, this forest has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and there's 3 crowns. 6 times 3 is 18. That's how many points you get. So you want to build big areas, but you have to have crowns in there to kind of maximize. And the coolest thing is with the action selection is wherever you place your pawn, all the tiles are numbered, and the lower numbers are not as exciting. They're not going to have crowns on them often. They're not going to be very diverse in terms of the land types they show because you have to match land types, kind of like a la dominoes. So you kind of want the higher numbered, better tiles, but if you choose a higher numbered tile, you're going to go last in turn order, which means on the next round, you're going to not have a choice of where you go. If you're playing a 4-player game, there's only one available tile to place your worker. So it's like, well, do I want lesser tiles and more control? Do I want better tiles and I might get stuck with something that's like, I can't play this. I have no land types that match.
Cool.
And you might get stuck later in the game. So it's just a really fun, simple game where it's just like, hey, if the land matches at least one half, you can play that domino there. And you're trying to bait big areas with crowns, simple and out. It's very easy to tell the land types apart. It's great. King Domino's awesome.
One of the Spiel's Yard for a reason. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely, it's got accessibility all over the place. For my L, I've got lanterns, dice, the dice game version of lanterns, which I've talked about quite a bit. I really enjoy it as a roll and write. It's really fun. You're rolling out these 4 dice and then kind of orienting the colors that come up. And basically, however you point it, whatever die is pointing to you, you get that color, and you're going to be crossing up these little triangles on your player board. And then if you're playing with opponents and stuff, whatever colors face them, they will get to cross off those colors. So even if it's my turn, other players are doing things, which keeps the soul of lanterns intact.
Yes.
Because in the base game of lanterns, when you place a tile out, whatever edge faces you, you'll get cards of that, and your opponents will get cards based off the colors that face them. So it keeps that soul in it. Does a really interesting thing with the dice where we roll these dice into this tray and then move it around, but creates a really fun, interesting, unique puzzle that's unique from lanterns itself. So here you're trying to basically cross off these little pools in the water that you can hopefully put these little firework tiles on there, which will be your main hit of points. It's just a really fun, cool.
It's fun where it's enough like lanterns where it feels very familiar, but it's definitely a very different game and actually a little bit heavier than lanterns.
To me, it's a little more tactical and heavy because of the way you feel and stuff.
I like lanterns a little bit more. Still, but like they're both great and both totally worth having in my opinion at least.
So that's my lanterns.
My L is my favorite game of last year, and that's Lost Ruins of Arnak. Lost Ruins of Arnak, which I want so badly. We don't have it yet, but ooh, that was almost. Coffee almost went flying that way. Nom noms.
Got lost in the ruins of your coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Nonetheless, Lost Ruins of Arnak is great. It's what we love in games. It's got a little bit of worker placement, a little bit of deck building.
It checks off the boxes.
Super combo task. It's all about extending your turn as long as you possibly can. Go into here, get these resources. Oh, now I can do this. That's going to give me this. Okay, now I can keep going. Now I can get this. Now I can keep going. Oh, I can do this. Now I can keep going. And you just try to make your turn. It's only 5 rounds long. In the first round, you're kind of like da-da-da. Okay, that's all I can do. You're like, wow, it's going to be a short game. But each round, you can do a little bit more. And by the end of the 5th round, everyone's just like, okay, I'm doing this. And you just kind of keep going around and around and around.
Until everybody passes,
And it's great. It's really, really pretty. It's just got a lot of different areas you can kind of work on. And you're kind of first like, how am I going to do all this stuff? But you end up doing it. It works really well. I really like Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yeah, everything has points attached to it. So you can go really pretty much in any direction. And it's like, it's going to get you points.
Yeah.
So everything is on the table. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really fun.
What do you got for M?
I got Merv. Another new game rather.
It's real fun.
Merv. It's a game about the city of Merv, which is with the heart of the Silk Road.
Silk Road, yeah. It's kind of the central hub.
The kind of central hub and stuff like that. A bunch of trading and stuff. And this is a great game. We've played it a couple times on stream recently. We got it recently, and I can't get this game out of my mind. Like I really, really can't. It's just so fun where you have this kind of really interesting action selection system where you have these like 25 tiles kind of in the middle of the board.
Yeah, something like that.
And essentially you have your meeple and you go around and you can activate one tile in that row or column depending on where you are around the city, the main city of Merv. And you can activate one tile in there, but then you also choose a color of building in that tile. You can choose your own color or someone else's color. And you eventually get resources for every building of that color in that row or column. So that's how you get your resources. And then you have a set collection, is what I'm trying to say. Action selection. Set collection over here. You're in caravans. You're getting different kind of like spices and stuff. You can go up the mosque track. You can go into like the palace. You can do all this different stuff. You can kind of go around Merv outside and trade some more, fulfill contracts. There's all these different ways you can go. Yeah. You can't do all of them. So you really need to choose like 1 or 2 to do.
Focus a bit.
And focus. And it's really, really fun. It's got Ian O'Toole art. It's one of the most gorgeous games out there. It's just beautiful. I really, really like it. I cannot get this game out of my head. I really keep thinking about it constantly.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, I
it's
really like it a
enjoyable.
lot.
My M is Miyabi, which is another Hobbit game. It's a Kiesling game where you're gonna be placing these like polyomino tiles out to build a garden that has different features like stones and bushes. I don't remember the names of them. Remember, there's fish and things. You're trying to build boxwoods and stuff. You're trying to build a very peaceful, beautiful garden. And it's got a really cool system where there's kind of all these tiles per round, and anyone can grab any tile at any time so long as it's available. And you can place it into your board. Now, the way it works is every row of your board can only accommodate one type of feature. There's like one row, the second row is for fish only.
Yeah.
So on these tiles you grab, they'll be blank, they'll be green, except for one area that has the feature itself. So you have to make sure that feature is in the right row. And then within every round, you can only put a feature in every column one time.
Yeah.
So I can't just load up my first column with stuff multiple times. I have to go to each column once. So how do I build out this thing in such a way that I can put it in the right row and use the right column, knowing that I can only use those once per round or those columns? And you're trying to score points. So if I put 2 fish on the very bottom level, I'm going to score 2 points. But if I build out in such a way that I can start stacking things and stacking tiles upward, then they start to multiply. So if I put 2 fish on the second level, it's 2 times 2, I'll get 4 points instead of 2. Or on the third level, now I get 6 points. And so you're trying to kind of build, in addition to, you know, following those columns, you're trying to build a nice base of stuff that you can then build up from there to get these bigger multipliers.
Yeah.
So it's a fun puzzle to put together. And there's all these little modules that will modify the game and maybe your focus in the game. So there's lots to explore there. Miyabi's one, the first time I played, I was like, okay. Then I've enjoyed it more and more and more as I've gotten into the kind of
I was very
polyomino puzzle.
okay on it in the beginning, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the restrictiveness of the puzzle.
Yeah,
it's
really
restrictive
cool.
in a good way.
It's a good puzzle.
Really good. Yeah.
That's Miyabi for me. That's M. On to the second half of the old alphabet now. And to the N. And for Nick, I have New Frontiers, which is a race for the Galaxy World game.
New Frontiers.
New Frontiers is fantastic.
It's all right.
It's a game where you are. All the players and stuff will have these different 5 actions you can do, I think 5 or 6. And you can do them to different actions to explore, which finds different planets you can hopefully then settle. You can do settle, you can develop technologies, you can produce resources, you can trade those resources and do consume actions. And the cool thing is that if I select an action, everyone's going to do that action, but I get to do a bonus. I get to do a better version of that action, essentially. If I'm doing a develop action, I can develop a technology for $1 less. Everyone else has to pay full price, so I get discounts and stuff. You can settle planets by paying its cost and having your little explorers go and settle those planets. That will then give you all sorts of perks. And it's really kind of an engine building game where I'm going to try to get different planets and technologies and stuff that all kind of feed off each other so that now there's different things. So when you do a produce action, you might get this bonus thing that you get to do once you've settled this planet. So maybe I can do a bunch of stuff so that when I do this produce action, I get to trigger like 4 different things. And you're trying to do this to ultimately get victory points, which will trigger the end of the game. And then the planets and stuff you settle will be worth points themselves. So there's just like a million directions to go based off what planets come out, what technologies are available from game to game, and you're just trying to build this cool engine. I think
it
it's
is fun.
Fascinating. And at 2 players, it goes fast, which is great.
Real fast too. Yeah, it is fun. I like it a lot.
Really enjoy it.
My N is the Networks. This continues to be one of my favorite games. This game, we've talked about it a lot. You were putting on, you run a TV station. You're putting on different shows.
I'm putting a high quality program.
Yeah, you have 3 different slots, 8, 9, 10, prime time only. And essentially you're getting shows. Those shows will give you a certain amount of viewers. Viewers are your points in this game. And certain shows will require a star. So you have to put a star on the show, but that'll give you more viewers. Certain shows require ads, but ads are great because they give you money, because a lot of times those shows and those stars cost you money each round. So you're basically trying to balance out how long do you keep a show, because at the end of every round, there's 5 rounds in the game, 5 seasons, your shows will age a season. And a lot of times, for the first season, they're okay. Second and third season, they're great. But fourth season, or sometimes third season, they just drop. People are over it. They're just like, I'm over this show. I've seen it. It's good. Great. And so you have to constantly swap out your shows, but you don't want to, it's like, oh, do I do it now? Do I do it later? And that kind of like trying to find that balance between when to do that, when to switch out shows, when to switch out shows. You also, if you have a lot of shows of the same genre, like sci-fi shows or action shows, your channel becomes known for that. So you can get little bonuses. So you might want to draft stuff based off of that. It's really, really fun. I absolutely adore it. It's got a bunch of expansions to it at this point. They're all fun and good. Especially the Executives expansion, which gives everyone then an asymmetric power, which is really, really fun. It's just great. The Networks is really, really wonderful. I'm just incredibly charmed by this game. It feels unlike any other game. It's got a great, unique theme that for some reason isn't used more. And yeah, I think it's great. And I love the Networks. That's my N for Nick.
Bam. What you got for
O? For Oprah. I have Oceans.
Oh, yeah.
I like Oceans a lot. Oceans is the kind of, I was going to say third game in the Evolution line, but I guess it kind of is, but it kind of isn't, because Evolution, Climate
Oh,
are
they're
more
all
or less
similar,
one
but
game.
all
Yeah.
very much their own deal.
Yeah, but Oceans is an evolution game. If you know the game Evolution or Evolution Climate, but I think it is the best version of them right now. I think they continually have gotten better, which is great. But Oceans is evolution, but in the water. So you have a species, and you're putting different traits on those species, like a bottom feeder, or you're like leeching off of other species, or you're like a big forager, you have build a big filter feeder, or you're like an apex predator or whatever. And essentially you are then trying to eat, and you can eat, if you're a forager, you can eat from the reef, so you're eating a bunch of little fish, or you can attack other animals, including your own, if you're a predator, essentially. I guess they're all kind of carnivore predators, but if you're a
carnivore, but there's certain ones that can
to attack other
only-
species. Yeah, exactly. And it's really, really fun. This cool balancing where everything is kind of in one big circle, where it really does feel like, again, like it's a big ecosystem. Like these fish feed the bigger fish, and these bigger fish provide stuff for these other. It's all a big balance, and you kind of have to balance it that way, where you can get these really, really cool sequences where you're like, okay, like I'm actually gonna attack my own person, because they then have this thing that does it whenever they get attacked or something like that. They actually get food or yada yada, and it just works in this really cool way where I just love it. And then there's different events that will happen, which will make things better or worse and stuff. It's just really, really fun. I think it's the best implementation of it, where I personally feel like eventually we'll probably get rid of Evolution.
Yeah.
Itself, because at this point, I'm like, I would just rather play
all.
Oceans at this point. I really like Evolution Climate. I love the climate part of it, but the rest of Evolution, I'm kind of like, I wish we could have that in Oceans, kind of thing, like something like that'd be cool. But nonetheless, Oceans is great.
My O is Orleans, or Orleans, man. Orleans is a super fantastic bag building game where you're gonna be pulling followers, these little chits out. That then put on action spaces to do 1,000,001 things. You can move around the area of Orleans and surrounding cities to get resources and build guild halls. You can send people to town hall and get these kind of bonuses and do all these different things. So you're trying to recruit more followers, for one. That will give you abilities to open up action spaces, like knights go to places to actually travel. So you can't travel unless you have a knight, or you can go up and get a monk who's wild. They can go anywhere. There's these scholars that help you move up the scholarly track. So there's like a bunch of different directions you can go in Orleans, which is super fun. To be like, based off of the chits you pull out of your bag, you're like, well, I should probably go here and here because I don't have the knight to go up and travel. So you're always kind of trying to deal with the randomness of what you pull and try to kind of maximize in different areas. And we really love Orleans Invasion, which turns, it's a big, big expansion for Orleans. It gives all sorts of different ways to play, but also gives you a cooperative way to play, where it pits you against a bunch of different, very hard to achieve objectives.
Yes.
And you're trying to now work together to put knights on a wall to defend, to store food and stuff for the winter that's to come, to gain all these citizen tiles. And it makes a really fun, challenging, cooperative puzzle. But that's what I really like about Orleans is you can play it solo. There's a 2-player specific game, all with the invasion expansion, all the trade and intrigue expansion is also really great. There's just a lot to explore with this one. And the base game itself is also really great.
Fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, so Orleans is my O. My P is Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Yeah, check that out.
I like the West Kingdom trilogy, y'all.
You do.
It's just great. I did a whole Best of the West on it.
Check it out.
And you can check it out. And so Paladins of the West Kingdom is the second game in that series. Where, sort of like Orleans, you're going to have a pool of workers, although here you know what workers you're going to have.
Yeah.
You get a pool of workers that then have to be assigned to different action spaces that sometimes might require specific color workers to activate. So you're trying to make use of the right color workers in the right spots, and you're trying to extend your turn as much as you can, because some action spaces take 3 of your workers. You're like, well, I only have 6, so that's expensive.
Yeah.
But I might get to do put out a garrison onto the central board that maybe I can choose a reward that gives me 2 more workers. Yeah. Oh, okay, well, I can use those immediately this round. So now I can stretch out my round a little longer.
Extend that turn.
And you're trying to do different actions, trying to kind of fortify and build up walls to protect against invasions. You can attack these outsiders, or you can convert them. You can do absolve. And you can basically work up these different attribute tracks in strength, faith, and influence to try to maximize the most score. There's a lot to explore.
Yeah.
And Paladins of the West Kingdom is just fun.
It's just
really fun. It's
really
heavy,
fun.
but it's fun.
Yeah, it's just great.
I like it.
My P game is my second favorite game of all time. That is the Prodigal's Club. We just played this last week on stream, and it's just it's this may make a push for #1, which is crazy. But I
Such a
love
cool
the
game.
Prodigal's Club. You're basically being a giant d-bag, which is great.
Hilarious.
Basically, you're trying to lose all your money, trying to lose an election, and trying to lose all your friends. You're just the worst person on the planet because you're like, hey, it's fun to do this, whatever. But nonetheless, you have those 3 areas, again, like the social track where you're trying to lose friends, an election track where you're trying to lose an election, and then money track where you're trying to just hemorrhage all your money. And basically, on those 3 scores, whatever is the highest score, and again, high is bad because you want to have no friends, whatever your highest score between those 3 is, that's going to be your score for the end of the game. So you have to get all of them, try to get them all basically down to 0. And it's really, really hard. And you think, no matter what, no matter how many times you play this game, halfway through the game, you're like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way you can get this done. And you always get it done. Last game we played, the score was 2-3.
I know.
And I won because I had 2. I think you had 3 votes.
I had 3 votes.
And I had 2 friends left.
Yeah.
And so I won with that. And it's like, and by the end of the 3rd or 4th round, we were just like, I think I had like 15 friends. I was like, man, I got to get rid of all these people.
But then you shifted your focus and went hard on that and really put the puzzle together.
It just works. It's so fun. It's so cool. It's very thematic. And you just get into the story. We're like, oh, I'm going to go to this restaurant and I'm going to make a rude gesture to the waiter. And that's going to piss off a bunch of my friends. They're all going to leave. It's like, it's just all these little things you can do. And it's just so much fun.
You can get into the storytelling of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's just great. I really, really love it. But on top of that, it's a heavy Euro game that just works.
Yeah.
And a really light theme that kind of just keeps it going, keeps it light, and it's just incredible. It's so darn good.
So awesome.
Yeah. That's
What
my
you got?
Prodigal's Club.
What you got for Q?
I got Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Makes sense. Great game.
Played this again recently. It's so good. It's so good. I
just
really
fun.
love it. Yeah, this is a push your luck game, basically straight up push your luck, where you are throwing different ingredients into a bag. You're trying to make a big old potion kind of thing. And you're pulling them out. And there's certain ingredients, the white ingredients, Michael calls them snap peas. Snap peas, you don't want
They're
those.
cherry bombs, yeah.
If you get a certain amount of those, yeah, your pot will explode. There's something explosive.
It's bad.
So you don't want those, but you're pulling stuff out of a bag randomly, and you're basically just putting them in your pot. You're trying to go as far as you can without exploding. If you explode, you have to stop, but you can always choose to stop whenever you want. But it's nice because at the end of each round, once everyone's done pulling stuff, because you're doing that all simultaneously, if you did explode, you get money and you get points. If you did explode, you can either choose money or points. So if you explode, it's not like you're like, oh great, now I have nothing.
Yeah.
You can choose money you use to buy new chips, and then points are points. And the chips, there's like 7 or 8 different kinds of chips, and they all have 7 or 8 abilities they can come with now with the expansion. So the variability is, because you can just randomize it, and the variability is through the roof.
So like the mushrooms may, from game to game, have very different things they do. They're
Yeah.
always sort of like in a, they're sort of
They're kind
like,
of a
they always
family.
do a
Yeah.
family of things, but it'll change your
It'll
experience.
change. And again, with the expansion, I think there's like 8 of each, or at least 6 of each.
least
And
6,
it's like,
yeah.
that means
So
you
many
could change
options.
each one 6 different times. It's so insane. And it's just great. I really, really love it. Yeah, it's a game that I enjoy. And this is a game that goes over well with, I feel like you could teach this game, especially if you cherry pick the abilities.
yeah.
You can teach this to new people, and it goes over so well. It's just,
Straight up
people
fun, press
love
your luck.
this game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's super cool. My cue is Quest for El Dorado, which is a great if you want to introduce the concept of deck building
That's
to
true,
people.
that's true.
Because you're never going to get that many different cards and stuff. It's a deck building game by Reiner Knizia where you're going to have 4 cards on a turn. You're going to play those cards and you're trying to move your meeple to El Dorado. And they're going to be going through various little map tiles to get there. And each hex on the map as you move forward will show the symbol you need to move on to that space.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them will have machetes if you're going through like the jungle. So if I have a machete card, I can play a machete card and move on to a machete space. Some spaces need money. If I have a money card, I can play a money card, move on to a money space. And then you can also at the end of your turn use cards that have money on them to buy more cards. And the cards are cool because there's not that many different options. There's a really interesting market system where there's only a certain amount of action types or card types available. And then when you deplete one stack, you can bring a new one in. But since there's not that many different things, you don't get super overwhelmed. And so you can, and because there's not that many types, the cards get cool pretty quick. They get kind of powerful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really powerful cards that are one-time use.
Yeah.
And so you can make
at the right
fun
time.
Oh, you can
good,
just zoom through the jungle because there's like the thickest parts of the jungle, which maybe will be a shortcut, but you need a thing that has at least 3 machetes on it. And there are cards that have a 3 machete. So it's like, okay, I can do that, but I can do a shortcut if you get the right card at the right time. So it's just a really fun way to show off deck building and make it a really clear racing game. And the iconography on all of the spaces is super clear. Like you'll know if you have the right thing to move on to it. And so it's just a great way to, it's just, for me, it's like, it's all sensible. It makes sense. So it's a great way to introduce this kind of game to people. I love Quest for El Dorado.
Yeah, it's
a fun racing game.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. All right, Mikey, R.
Speaking of semi kind of racing games, I have a racing game where you're trying to race to get 2 tracks across each other. That's Rajas of the Ganges.
I just did a board game highlight about this.
You did. It's very cool. Do check that out if you want more of an in-depth look at this. I'll briefly go over it here. This is a game where you are trying to build out a province of different tiles and stuff that'll have markets and have different architectural buildings and things. And buildings and stuff will gain you fame, and markets will give you the chance to sell goods for money. And you're trying to make those 2 tracks cross or going in opposite directions around the board. And so it's all about kind of using these dice as currency and using workers to go to worker action spaces. So you go to worker action space and you'll always be using dice essentially to go up a river to get bonuses, to buy more tiles based off the color of the dice you have available. You can go to different action spaces based off of the value of the die. It doesn't matter the color, but now you need it to be a 2 or a 3 or whatever to make use of certain actions. And you're just doing all these things to try to build up a little money engine for yourself, a little fame engine for yourself to have those 2 tracks cross. And there's like lots of bonuses in the game, which is why I like it. There's lots of things you can do. You can flip over this, or you build a tile to the edge of your little player board, which gives you this bonus. It gives you extra dice or money. So it's really kind of combo bonusy. Tastic, which we quite enjoy. So love Rajas.
And check out the dice game if you haven't already, because
so good.
You like rolling rights, you like Rajas of the Ganges. The dice game might be as good as the base game.
It's so good.
My R, I actually chose Rum and Bones. And I think it's because so all these lists are top 100. There's already things in the top 100 that have changed for me or whatever. These are always snapshots in time, right? So it's always like, what is my favorite R right now? And I think it's because I'm working through painting it right now, and so it's just on my mind a lot. But that's Rum and Bones.
Such a cool game.
Yeah, Rum and Bones is a pirate swashbuckling kind of game, but very like Pirates of the Caribbean is how it's kind of described. Very
fun,
legit fantastical,
light.
because there's like whales. There's like a whale faction you could be or whatever. It's like, yeah, there's like all different kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
But essentially you have your like crew members who are like MOBA style. They basically just walk forward and hit stuff. But then you have your heroes, and your heroes are like rigging and swinging over the other side. They're doing all this crazy
super
stuff.
Cool powers.
Yeah, and there's like different essentially classes. Are like, there's like the captain, there's like the swashbuckler who's really good at like swordplay, there's like the gunner who does like range combat, there's the brute who's just like really big and strong, and there's a quartermaster which like buffs a bunch of people around them and stuff. And you choose 3 heroes. You can choose basically whoever you want as long as they're on the same team. And then you have your crew, and essentially you're trying to score victory points. You score victory points by destroying the other player's ship. So you have your main mast. If you destroy that objective, you get a certain amount of points. You also get it by knocking out one of their heroes. Your heroes are never dead. If they go down to 0 health, they come off for 1 round, and then they can come back on.
Yeah.
But you get a victory point for that. The Kraken can also show up. A big sea dragon can also show up. If you kill those, you get points. You're just trying to get to 8 points. And that's it. But it's really, really fun. The minis are great. I just really love it. And they came out season 1, they came out season 2. Season 2, they changed a lot of it, and they really made it better.
It made it a good game.
Where now each person has abilities you can like unlock and upgrade, and it's just so much better. It's just great. And we had to play it recently for our marathon video, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I want to keep painting this because it's kind of like half painted right now.
Yeah, right.
And so it's kind of going to be my big painting project this year. I want to finish out Rum and Bones. It's like one of my big things. And so it's just been on my mind a lot, and I'm just like, I really like it. I like it a lot.
It's solid. It's
Rum and
super
Bones is
solid.
great. It's great. So that's my R. My number S. I keep saying number. My number S is Sierra West.
Nice.
It's a great board and dice game. This is my favorite game of 2 years ago now.
Nice.
Because it's 2021.
Yeah.
2019. This is a Frontier themed game. I love Frontier themes. Where it's this weird, no game really feels like it. It's this weird mix of like a tiny bit of deck building, a tiny bit of worker placement, and then a tiny bit of programming.
Yeah.
It's like all those things, but not a lot of any of those things. Where essentially you have 3 cards in your hand at every turn, and you're going to put them in your board, and your board has these like fingers that come out, and it's going to block some of the things on those cards.
Some of the icons and things, yeah.
Some of the icons, and then you have essentially 2 paths, an upper path and a bottom path, and you have these little workers, and they go across the path, and essentially that's the programming. And they're coming across actions and resources. You're getting resources, you come across actions, you can like build buildings, you can go and get more better cards. And then once they're all the way across, at the top of all those cards you put in, there's like little worker placement spots, mostly to go up do these different tracks.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of worker placement, a little bit of deck building because you're grabbing new cards and you kind of shuffle them through, and then a little bit of programming. That just, for me, really, really, really works. A lot of people, this game is kind of divisive. People either really like it or really don't like it. I love it. And then on top of that, the base game has 4 different modules that you play. So the cards that are in this big pyramid of cards will always be different, but the general game stays the same. It's really, really fun. I absolutely adore it. I just really like it. I still, for the moment I saw it, I hadn't even played it. I was like, that's my favorite game of the year. And I was right.
Super duper solid. It's underrated for sure. Yeah. My S is from John DeClaire. It's Space Base. We've enjoyed this game for some time now.
Is this because we just started playing Shy Pluto?
This is because we just started playing Shy Pluto. We're late to the game. It's kind of an expansion that is revealed Legacy, through a campaign. You sort of go through a campaign that reveals elements of the expansion, which is a cool, it's a great way to here's all this stuff we have, and it's sort of introduced through a story. So Space Base is just really fun. I've always really enjoyed it. It's a game where you're going to be rolling dice on a turn, and based off those dice rolls, you can either combine the 2 values to activate one of your little space ports, or your docks, or you can use each die individually to activate 2 things. And then whatever of those little space docks you have, if you had a 3 and a 1, they might give you money, they might give you income, they might give you points, or they might give you like an action thing you can do. And so it's really fun because you're dealing with something very random, dice you can't control.
Yeah.
So you're trying to give yourself really good odds of hitting something useful. So no matter what I roll, I'm going to do something that's better than what your base cards are. Your base cards are pretty basic, but then you're going to be buying cards on most of your turns. And if I put something in my 7 slot, whatever ship was there before is going to get flipped upside down and put behind my board, and it's going to show a little red tag, which means that now when another player rolls a 7, I get all the stuff in the 7 slot that's showing in red. So I can start to build up stuff, and that's the fun of the game, is that no matter what, if it's your turn or another opponent's turn, you are getting things, you are participating, so it might be that by the time it comes back to me, I've gained all sorts of money. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is great,
Ooh, yeah.
Now I can buy a bigger, better card, and you're trying to basically upgrade your board. But the thing I really enjoy is that there's a couple directions you can go, and I typically fall into I want to upgrade everything once, so that no matter what gets rolled in the future, I get something. You can do that, or you can be like, I'm going to do my 11, which is hard to roll. It's hard to roll an 11.
But it's beefy.
But if I hit it, or if someone else hits it, I get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, the risk of that is do I hope it hits and hit big, or do I hope to get a bunch of stuff that's maybe not as strong, but it'll hit kind of constantly? Do I want a big amount of stuff, or do I want to trickle?
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if one's necessarily better than the others, but it's cool that you could go either direction.
Yeah.
So Space Base is just really fun. Just a cool game that you're always active, because no matter who's rolling, I might get something, so I'm going to pay attention. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really great.
That's my S. My T, I lost it, is Targi. It's a 2-player worker placement game.
Yeah.
That's just super
Very
cool.
unique, yeah.
You have this border of cards that'll have worker spaces, and then some cards in the middle that might have goods, or will have these tribe cards, which you're ultimately building out into a tableau. That'll be your main purpose in the game, the main thing you're trying to build. And it has a really cool style where it's just 2 players. So if I place a worker on this kind of top row of cards, Nick cannot then put a worker directly across from that worker. If they would be looking directly at an opponent, they can't place their worker there. So it's very tactical of where you place things that kind of block each other's options, limits their options. And then based off of where you place those workers, you will create intersections for those middle cards where you put these tribe markers. And then when you go, you'll activate up to 5 things. You have 3 workers and up to 2 tribe markers, depending on how you place everything. And then you will activate all of those in whatever order you like to gain resources, to maybe pick up a tribe card, spend those resources to build that card, which might give me a perk now for the rest of the game. I might have a discount for something. I might have this ability. I might get bonus points. And you're trying to build out this tableau of these tribe cards, which has a bit of a set collection element based off the icons on there. There's like deserts and oasis and things like that in Targia. And so there's just a lot of really fun, interesting elements to the game. And it's just cool that it's a 2-player worker placement game.
Really cool. But even then, it takes worker placement to like such a weird way.
Yeah, because
it's
like
so cool.
a lot of worker placement games are about like, oh, this action space is now taken, which very much Target does. But it's weird how like the placement of this also makes this unavailable for you.
Odd,
so it's very cool, very interesting game. Really enjoyed Target. That's my T.
All right, my T is Terraforming Mars, classic. At this point, kind of modern classic game. I really love Terraforming Mars. I do. I like the engine building aspect of it.
Fantastic.
I like it, just like base game Prelude, maybe Venus next if we want some extra cards. But even then, it's just like, it was kind of, Prelude really made it better because you then kind of jumpstart your game. But like, other than that, it's like, just base Terraforming Mars is great. It's digital now, which is awesome. I can play it like that, but I also really still enjoy playing the physical game more.
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's just engine building. I think its popularity is for a reason. I mean, it's just still one of those days, just like you're at a con or something like that, someone's playing Terraforming Mars. Just always playing it. And I just think it's really, really good. I think it's a great engine builder. That is like a game that's ultimately not that complicated, but like is a lot of depth to it. But not saying like Terraforming Mars is a gateway game. It's not. But I really do think you could teach it to newer gamers because it's like, in terms of like, hey, this is what it costs to put these cards into play. They might have like parameters and stuff that cost money. This is generally what you can kind of go for, and then just let people explore from there. Yeah. And it's like, you may lose your first couple of games you're playing against experienced players, but
you get to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, and so you get to explore the game. I think it's really, really fun. So I really love Terraforming Mars still. I'm curious about this new, shorter Terraforming Mars, the card game, because Terraforming Mars is, in my opinion, already like a card game. So I'm very curious about what this is. The Ares Expedition or something like that. Yeah, so I'm like, all right. We'll see, but I'm curious at least. And so Terraforming Mars is my T game, Mikey. My U is Unmatched. Really choose any Unmatched at this point. Unmatched is by our sponsors. Thank you, Sponsor Daddies. Restoration games. We both really love Unmatched. We play it often on stream because it's just so much fun. At this point, there's so much of it. And God, they're just getting started. Dude, that's the crazy part. Like, there's like 17 or 18 different heroes you can choose, but essentially it's a one-on-one. You can play 3 and 4-player, but it's mostly one-on-one. You each choose a hero. Each hero, for the most part, has a sidekick. You're just trying to eliminate the other person's hero, but it's all card-based, and all characters are very asymmetric. They play differently, and they play like they're characters. So, like, if you're playing Sherlock Holmes, he's all about, like, deducing stuff, and like, ooh, I'm going to try and guess these different kinds of things, and that's going to give me an edge. The Invisible Man is always, like, going off into the fog, and then, like, pops back up. The Raptors hunt in packs. Yeah. You know, Sinbad's very, very fast. Medusa's just staring at you from across the board, hurting you. It's just great, and it works, and it's quick. It's like 20, 30 minutes tops. It's very, very fast. Super simple game to teach. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to teach. But the depth and all the different characters playing against each other is so interesting and so wonderful, and it's got the best art, I think, in any board game series ever. So, it doesn't hurt.
Get ready.
Yeah, Unmatched is great. And again, you can kind of pick and choose. Any character you can play against anyone on any board. So kind of just pick and choose the ones that seem interesting to you and just go from there. I really love Unmatched, though.
Yeah. My U is Underwater Cities, which is a really cool game where you're trying to build out this network of tunnels and cities with buildings underwater because we've grown too populous on the land. And we can't get to Mars just yet per the story of the game. So you are building underwater. And so this game comes down to kind of stretching out your resources. You have credits and you have kelp and steel plast and all these different resources that will build different buildings around cities, again, that have to be connected to tunnels to a starting city. And if you get tunnels built out in these cities with buildings and stuff, at 3 points in the game, you'll do production where you'll get a big dump of resources, some points and stuff, which you can then use in the second era and then into the third era. So you're trying to kind of get this production built up, get this infrastructure to get all these resources to then build further in as you go deeper into the game. And it's just really interesting. I really love it because they have these different actions around the board. There's kind of a green, red, and orange section. And then you'll also be playing a card on your turn every turn. And if you play a card color that matches the action space you chose, so I play a red card when I go to a red action space, I get to make use of that card. You have to play a card regardless, and if I don't match it, just discard it. So it comes down to like, I really kind of want to do stuff on the orange area. I don't have any orange cards. I kind of like the cards I have.
Yeah.
So do I play a green action, which isn't as strong, so I can play this card? Or do I just play the orange action and discard a card? There's lots of fun, interesting choices you have to make there, and you're kind of like, this is kind of brutal. Because like me, I get very fixated on like, I want to match colors
I'm like,
every
I
time.
have to. It's like, you don't have to.
It's like, you don't have to, but it's nice because you might
Yes.
get bonus resources and things like that. So it's a really interesting idea of kind of interplaying card play with action selection spaces. And you're just, again, trying to build out this big network. And then every time you produce, you get points and resources. There's some end game scoring cards you can get and a whole bunch of things. It's just a really cool, interesting game.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the card play matching with the actions.
Yeah,
Super
it's
neat.
really, really fun. It's a game that we haven't had a chance to explore as much as I'd like to, and I really, this year, I want to play it a bunch, as much as possible, just because I want to explore it more,
It's super rad. So that's my U. My V is Viscounts of the West Kingdom. I mentioned another West Kingdom game just a bit ago.
Checks out.
Viscounts is my favorite of the West Kingdom trilogy games. It beats out Paladins by this much, but it's a really cool game that's very different from Paladins, very different from Architects of the West Kingdom, which is also great. In Viscounts, you're kind of doing deck building, but in slow motion, you're playing one card per turn into this tableau of 3 cards in front of you. And based off of the card you play, you're going to move your Viscount circular in a clockwise fashion around the board, and then make use of an action. And the action you choose, the amount of icons you have in that tableau in front of you is going to dictate basically how strong of a version of that action you can do. You can trade goods. You can build buildings, which will give you all sorts of bonuses. You can transcribe manuscripts, which is a set collection for the end of the game, and also will give you bonuses. Or you can put people in the castle, which is a kind of an end game scoring and bonuses as you go. So it's all about these kind of 4 different areas, 3 of which will be big scoring areas. And you're trying to curate a deck of cards that really is kind of tailor-made so that you can ideally have in that tableau of cards in front of you a bunch of one icon.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a rainbow stuff because you kind of can't do any action really well. But if I have a ton of money bags, I can do like a big trade action, get a bunch of stone to use for building in the future along with my little gray hammer icons. So there's a lot of cool stuff to explore, a lot of fun bonuses that can be gained as you build things. You get to cover up bonuses, you're getting debts and deeds. It's just a really cool game that works. The whole way your turn works into the cards and recruiting and everything is just really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just slick, I think is the word for it. So I really like Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
Right now, I like Architects more still, but I think Viscounts will end up being my favorite.
Sure.
I've only played it like once or twice.
Sure.
So,
I played it a lot more than Nick has to this point.
It's really good. It's just, and they're so different. Yeah, it's just great.
I can't guess what your V will be.
It's Viticulture. It's my favorite game.
Told you.
Viticulture is great. It's about building a winery. And sure, I actually like the theme. I think it's cool. I find, despite the fact that Mike and I don't drink, I love vineyards. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're cool.
Pretty. And
Like, I would love to own a vineyard. I'm like, I think I'll just eat these grapes. Like, I'm guessing it's not the same kind of grapes you just eat.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know anything about wine or anything like that. But it just be
They
cool.
also have cheese. You can get really heavy into the cheese side of the vineyard.
That's true. I'll do the cheese stuff.
the
I'll
charcuterie.
hire someone else to sell.
Everyone else can do the wine part. You do the charcuterie.
But I
part.
do love vineyards. I think it's a great theme. But this is a game, a worker placement game where you're each round is 1 year, and so you're going through the seasons. And the base game is just spring. It's just summer and winter. In the Tuscany expansion, which you should definitely play with, it's all 4 seasons, and you're essentially, getting vines, getting grapes. You're making those grapes into juice, turning that juice into wine, aging that wine to fulfill contracts, essentially. Yep. And it's got this very linear path that's very, very fun, in my opinion. I really, really love it. And there are like some special workers that you can get that like change up the game a little bit. There are all these different visitors. The visitors to me are part of the game that I've really. Well, I think when we first started playing the game, the number of times I never really, visitors were kind of like an afterthought to me. I was always like, I want more of the engine.
Like central.
But now at this point, I'm like, no, I want the visitors because visitors allow you to do so much other stuff and allow you to kind of like break a lot of the little rules where it's like, oh, now you can, this visitor allows you to age your wine twice and then fulfill a contract. You're like, oh, cool, I can do that. And especially because that's part of the game other than the big Tuscany expansion that's been expanded. There's like the more visitors.
Yeah.
Which I add a whole bunch of new stuff. And there's like
so
the Rhine
interesting.
visitors, which we don't even have that expansion. And I heard that one's even more fun with the visitors. And so it's just, I've really loved to explore this game, even though I've got it dozens of times probably at this point.
A lot.
And I still love it. It's still my favorite game. I just love Viticulture. I really, really adore it. And yeah, it's my V. That's my V. My W is a game called Wendake. This is a game we kind of champion a lot and talk about a lot because
So good.
I think it's got a great theme where It's a theme that's appropriate because they actually were talking to the people. It's a game based around Native Americans from like the Michigan kind of area, the Great Lakes area. And it's done appropriately, which is very nice, as a lot of themes in board game aren't, in my opinion. And it's really wonderful, and it's a great game that's got this really cool action selection system where you have these 9 tiles, and essentially they're in a 3x3 little grid on your board, and you can activate 3 of them. So you can activate like one of the columns or one of the rows, or you can activate one of the diagonals.
Tic-tac-toe.
You can tic-tac-toe it essentially. And then all the tiles you use, the tiles will have different actions on them, like gathering. You can like hunt for like pelts and stuff like that. Turn those pelts into like leather. You can trade. You can do all this different kinds of stuff. You can move around. There's like an area control board. So you can move around, like kick people out and do all this kind of stuff. But then once you use those tiles, they then flip over. And on the opposite side, there's a separate kind of action called, was it tribal action?
That or
Ritual action. It was ritual action, yes. A ritual action you can do. And then at the end of the round, all your tiles slide down. So the tiles that are on the bottom row slide off of your board.
Yeah.
And then you get a new tile. And the new tiles are much better versions of those tiles. And then you choose one of your old tiles that came off your board. You throw it away. You add that new tile, you shuffle it up, and you put those back on the top of your thing. So your board is constantly doing this shuffling of your actions.
Awesome.
And it's shuffled, so you don't know where they're going to come up. So you're constantly like, oh man, what row do I do? Do I want to do this? Because then it's going to flip over, so I'm going to lose that action until it then comes off my board and comes back around. And it's so unique, and it's so fun, and it's great, and I really love the theme. I love the look of it. There's a lot going on. It's kind of one of those situations where you have these like 4 tracks you're going on, and whatever the lowest is going to be, that's going to be your score. So you kind of have to do everything, which is something I'm finding that I really like in games, where it's kind of like, hey, you have all these different score tracks. Whatever you did the worst in, that's your score. So you need to do good in everything. And I really like that in games. And Wondake is just great. We're going to keep championing it because I think it's awesome. And this game went straight under the radar. And no one talks about it or plays it. And I think that's unfortunate because I think it's great.
My W, it is great. My W is World's Fair 1893.
Ooh, great.
Which is a cool little area control game where you're going to be putting cubes into 5 different areas that were represented in the World's Fair, like agriculture, electricity, the other art.
Agriculture, manufacturing, art, and clogging.
And clogging. Clogging, very underrated, very powerful. So you can be putting them in different areas, and you're hoping to have more of your cubes in any of those 5 areas at the end of the round than other players to get access to different tokens and stuff, and ultimately facilitate some set collection. The cool thing is you get these cards when you choose a space to go to. You'll collect cards. That'll have midway tickets, which will kind of time out the game and also give you coins, which are points. And then there's different cards that match the 5 different colors of the World's Fair and stuff that you'll be turning them into tokens again for that set collection. But there's also famous people from the era, famous inventors and innovators who will all give different ways to manipulate the cubes that are on the board, will allow you to place extra cubes. So if I go to this green area and I place my cube and I place this one, that allows me to add a cube to the yellow area. So now I'm kind of like working on multiple areas at once, and I'm kind of increasing my stranglehold on over the agriculture, or I'm like now matching Nick to make it less valuable for him to be there.
People in there being like, "What's up?
What's up, man? I'm a cube." So then at the end of the round, you kind of go through each area, see who has the majorities. They will win medals, which again are points straight up, and then you'll be able to convert a certain amount of cards you have that match red or whatever into tokens, and you want to have kind of complete sets of all the different color tokens and stuff. So it's just a really cool, again, simple area control game.
Yeah.
Where there's not a ton of different things going on, but you do get that same kind of feeling of like, do I try to protect what I have? Do I try to disrupt what my opponents are going for? Do I try to do it all? And then based off of like, there's an added little stitch of like, well, what cards are in this area? Do I care about any of those cards?
I don't need any of those cards.
So I'm like, well, I'm gonna go over here and place a cube here, even if that area is not that interesting. It's like, but I can use these cards more that might help me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool things to consider, but ultimately it's a fairly straightforward game.
Yeah.
That's just super cool. I really enjoy it. So
I like World's Fair a lot.
1893 is my W. X. I have Xenoshift. There's not that many X games, folks.
There's very few games that start with X.
We played 2. You're gonna hear us talk about them both right now. Xenoshift is 1, which is
3 if you count both Xenoshifts.
Yes, indeed. So kind of 3. So in Xenoshift, both versions, it's a cooperative game where you're kind of fighting bugs, kind of Starship's Trooper Starship Trooper Z.
Yeah, kind of.
And you're fighting big bugs with these different soldiers you have, and you kind of create this battle line of soldiers, and then there's going to be bugs and different creatures that come up in an opposite line, and sort of whoever's in the front of the line, they fight each other, stuff happens, one kills the other, and then effects happen. If you get wiped out, then another person moves to the front of the line, and you're just sort of trying to take out waves.
Trying to
So
survive,
they're literally
basically,
waves.
yeah.
You're trying to survive. So the cool thing is the cooperative nature of the game is it's very much promotes trading cards with each other. Like, I can give Nick this card.
Bombs, please.
That gives him a bomb that helps him out survive this thing, but now that card's in his deck of cards. It's a deck building game. And so, but it's really cool, the whole idea of like, I'm gonna get this thing, but can I borrow it? You know, can I borrow your thing? And then I'll help you out in the future, because you're collectively trying to survive. You're all sort of protecting different areas of your base, as it were.
Yeah.
So it's just a really cool,
really fun, yeah.
tough game. That does deck building in a way that really facilitates true cooperation.
This game really feels cooperative.
It feels cooperative, which is really awesome. So I love Xenoshift.
Yeah,
really
I like
cool.
Xenoshift.
Really
too.
neat game.
My game was the other game we played that starts with X, and that's Xayah. Now, luckily, we like both these games. Now, Xayah, we've only played once, but we did enjoy it. We got to play it at a con, and this is a cool big 4X space game where it's really truly sandbox. This is one thing people talk about this game a lot. Is like it's really sandbox where you can just choose to do whatever you want within the confines of the
Whatever
game.
direction you want
So
to
if you
go.
want to be like all pick up and deliver, you can just do all pick up and deliver, and that's totally viable. If you want to be like a smuggler going out doing stuff, you can do that. You can really do whatever you want. And you have your ships, you can like upgrade your ships and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. This is a game that like, I would never need to own this game.
Yeah, sure.
Like this isn't our kind of game. There's also just like a lot going on. We would never ever play it. But it's like, this is a game like occasionally at a con, I'm totally down to play because it's like, this to me is a con game. We can spend a couple hours playing it. Super, super fun. I did like it a lot. It's just one of those games where I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to own this game, but I'm glad that other people own this game.
Super
because
glad
that
it
means like
exists.
once a year, once every couple of years, I get to play it. But it is very cool, and I do like the fact that it's really like, just this, here's this world, play in it.
Yeah,
Do whatever
very
you
cool.
want. You know, it's a very, very cool system. And I've heard the expansions are really cool too. So it's one of those games that like I would love to play a little bit more. But isn't necessarily the game for us, like for our collection kind of us, but like it was cool. It was very cool, and I know people really love Xayah, so yeah.
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 That's X we got for Y.
Y. Also, not very many games start with Y. Not very many.
There's less and less games as we get deeper into the
Yeah,
alphabet
X, Y,
here.
Z are real rough.
We got only a handful. It's very cool.
So my Y is Yukon Airways, which is a game that we talk about a lot. This is a really wonderful game where you are in the Yukon and you're a pilot. And you're essentially just dropping passengers off up there in
Taking
the
them
Yukon.
places, showing
You can
them
really only
places.
get around by, I believe, fan boat
Yeah.
and plane. That's
Those
it.
Canadian crocodiles.
Yeah,
It's
Canadian
up way up
crocodiles.
there.
So you got sometimes if it's mating season, you got to take a plane because they're just wild.
It's just waves.
So yeah, so you're going around by plane. You're just dropping off people. So you're dropping these dice. These dice are essentially passengers, and then you're dropping them off to the different parts of the Yukon, trying to collect these cubes essentially, and that you're trying to basically visit as many places in the Yukon as you possibly can. Trying to deliver as many as you can. And it's great because there's like all these little restrictions. You can't go very far. You don't have that much fuel. But as you deliver people and stuff like that, you then can good job, Nick. You then can upgrade your plane, and you can essentially start breaking all of these rules. There's all these really strict parameters to the game, but then you're like, oh, I can do this, and all of a sudden it gets kind of put off to the side. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And you have all these rules that you then start to get to break, and you can start going farther and farther out and deliver more people. It's really, really fun. It's pretty quick too, which I like, and it's just got like a cool theme. Like, and the gentleman who named it Alan, that's what his dad did. He was a pilot in the Yukon, so that's where this theme came from. So it's super cool, and like it just rocks. I really like Yukon Airways a lot.
Yeah, another Y game that we played that I really want to play again. It's been on my. I've almost just bought it because I really enjoyed playing it. But
You have almost gotten it. I was going to get it.
I know, it's Yokohama. Yokohama is a really interesting game.
It's
that
very interesting.
You set up this modular board, putting all these tiles out, and you are trying to basically run a really successful business to gain fame. And you have like your president, and you have your assistants and stuff, and you're going around to different action spaces to get resources for trade, and you're trying to do these bonus actions, and you're trying to complete contracts, gain achievements, do all these different things. But it's really interesting the way you kind of move around, because it's almost like route building involved.
Yeah.
Because on a turn, you can place assistants out to different buildings and things. And then when you go to move your president, you have to move. You can either take them back in your hand, which you can then kind of teleport them onto a space, or you can kind of move them adjacent to a space, but they have to have one of your assistants there. So you have to kind of build out
you're kind of route building,
your route so that your president can then go around to these different places and make use of all these actions and stuff. So that part was really interesting. And I remember like, man, I did not do that well, where I didn't think about the future. I was just thinking about the now. And you're like, well, I should have done this so I can sort of basically chain off these things and create this efficiency and all the different action spaces. As your president goes there, you get to do different things. And so there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on. And I enjoyed my play of it so much that I've always wanted to come back to it. I almost, again, just bought it. Based off of a memory and stuff. And now there's the Yokohama Duel, which is coming out at some point, I think, this year. It's on pre-order.
I'm really curious about Yokohama
Which takes
Duel.
that, because that's one thing that's held us back. We're like, well, will it work that well at 2 players? Because you're trying to, it's nice when there's multiple players. Because if I place an assistant in a place that has your president, I have to pay you yen to do that. So it's like, well, obviously you want more players to be in each other's way, but if there's a 2-player specific version, well, then like, I want to know what that's about. So anyway, Yokohama is really interesting, really enjoyed it, really want to play it again because it's always stuck in my mind. So that's why I chose it for my Y. And for Z, Nick.
What'd you choose?
I got Zombicide.
I got Zombicide.
There's not that many Z games. If you know any X and Z games.
We got Zombicide, Zularetto, which we haven't played Zularetto, so we got, the good thing is like 9 Zombicides, so I'll choose Prison Outbreak.
I'll choose Black Plague.
Because Prison Outbreak's my favorite of like the original ones.
Black Plague is the objective best. So Zombicide is an awesome zombie fighting game where you have a bunch of just hordes of zombies coming at you kind of in waves. They spawn every round and you're trying to slice and dice these zombies up to gain experience, and you'll have a different scenario that will lay out different action boards, and you might have to go find objectives, you might have to get through this gauntlet and escape. There's different stories and stuff, and a lot of people made ones online and everything, but it always comes down to like, go in here, fight a bunch of zombies, get cool weapons, fight more zombies, which will give you more abilities that you unlock, which is super cool, that you start unlocking abilities that usually will be, you can kill more zombies now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's awesome. Like, it's just a fun game. It was one of the first games we ever had. Zombicide has served us well over many, many years.
Yeah, we like Black Plague the most. We used to have we had the original, we had Prison Outbreak, which is the second one. We had Rue Morgue, which is the third one. And so we ended up getting rid of all the original ones and just keep Black Plague. It's our favorite. Also, they're all the same, let's be honest, so we don't need 4 different versions. But of the originals, I did like Prison Outbreak the most because Prison Outbreak basically gave you a new kind of zombie, Berserker zombies, which you could only kill with melee weapons. You couldn't shoot them. And then there was also an expansion called Toxic City Mall, which took place in like a mall or whatever, but that had toxic zombies, which you could only shoot. You could kill them with melee, but then you would take a damage. So it was really fun playing those because you had normal zombies, which you could kill however, but then you had berserk zombies and toxic zombies. So some were normal, some you could only kill with melee, and some you could only kill with range. And so it made the game really fun to be like, oh gosh, what do we do with this group? There's a whole mix of them.
What's coming at you, you have to get
you
really
kind of like,
specific.
and it was always really, really fun. Again, we got rid of them because we have Black Plague, which we think is the best one, and it's great. But like, they're all fun. They're all the same ultimately. But they're good.
They're fun.
And Prison. That's also the first full game I painted was like Zombicide and Prison Outbreak and stuff like that. So
cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's our Z's.
That's our Alpha Best.
And that's it.
That's the Alpha
Wow,
Best.
that
best
was
of the alphabet.
52 games. What are we at?
Best games A to Z.
Hour 30. That's not bad.
It's not bad for
52
50 odd
games. Yeah.
We won't take up too much more of your time, but please let us know if you could put your games in the alphabet. Let us know your favorite games of the alphabet. If you have a favorite letter of the alphabet, you're like, man, every game I like is the letter C or whatever. We have like 27 games that start with the letter C. Let us know what letter for you is like the strongest letter for board games, and give your Alpha Best. Best games A to Z in the comments below.
Indeed. At the end of all of our, this isn't really a top 10, but our top list ones, we always like to shout out all our patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you so much, patrons. These are people who support our Patreon in any given amount.
Support our brand of wackiness.
It allows us to do all this kind of stuff. It's allowed us to be one of the main reasons why we've been able to be full-time doing this for a while. So just thank you so much to our patrons. You mean the world to us. It's every once in a while I just get, I'm like, holy crap, all these people like us. It's very odd. So if you want to join our Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. But thank you so much to our patrons. We really appreciate it. And that's going to be it. Again, shout out to Board Game Blitz for doing this kind of list. I think the Dice Tower's also done some kind of like letter list like that.
So it's a fun thing to do.
I love these kinds of lists because it's always like, I haven't really thought about it in that way. what is my favorite K game? And it's just like, it's a cool thing.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We're the Brothers Marathon. We's out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Talking about ABC. It's all a board game to me.
Oh. Thank you so much for watching that top 52. Yeah, we really appreciate it. If you want to check out our marathon video, which is we're going to keep on pushing because it's great. Check out that video up there. If you want to check out what was
Nick's board game highlight by Roger the Ganji.
Boom, down
Right
there.
down there.
While you're here, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. We love you.